Knowles 24, Bayou Kittens 23. Let's break it down.
This is FSU softball player Mac Leonard, and you are listening to the Gap Blitz podcast.
If you are listening to this show, that means you are a Florida State fan, and welcome in to the Gap Blitz podcast. I couldn't do the recap last night because, for one, I was too hyped up. Two, I had to get my butt to bed because I had to work this morning. We're going to break down Florida State LSU in the Big Easy, and what a game it was. College football is back, and on a weekend where we saw some crazy things happen, some scores and some games that we didn't think was going to happen, I don't know how it's going to get much better than FSU LSU last night. So let's get right into this. It was a 3.5-point line. They were giving FSU 3.5 to start. I think it ended up being like 4 points. So FSU covers, wins the game in dramatic fashion that didn't need to be dramatic, and I will get to that. First of all, it is a fantastic day to be a Seminole fan. So, not only did FSU win a game on national TV where they were the only team playing, hundreds of people watching, but they were able to show something in this game called sustainability. And it's something that we really didn't see last year out of this team. Yes, this team ended hot last season. You know, the last 5 games of the year, they played really good, inspired football, but it was lacking some it factor, some luster, and you could see it. So all the work, all the practicing and the lifting weights and everything that they put into the off season is paying off through week 0 and week 1, and we saw it last night on display. This team is so much farther ahead, and they still have work to do to get to where they want to be. I can't tell you how nervous I was before this game even started. I can't tell you how happy I was to see them hang on and win that game. And I'm going to call myself pretty much a lifelong Seminole fan. To see the ups and the downs and the goods and the bads and where FSU's come from since Jimbo dipped out on them, it's a great feeling. It's a fantastic feeling as a fan to see this team getting back to what we expect to see as FSU fans. Players, coaches, athletes, students, all of it. I'm going to start with quarter by quarter, and normally I go good and then bad, but I'm going to go quarter by quarter, and that way we can just kind of flow through the game. All the hype, all the build-up has been leading up to this game for several months. And it was so easy last week to look past Duquesne because not only did we know they were going to win, we also knew that they had to win convincingly, stay healthy, and then it was on to LSU. It was hard not to look past Duquesne. They went out, took care of business, and now the real show begins. Brian Kelly leaves Notre Dame, comes to LSU, inherits kind of a mess. I mean, if you think about it. Ed Orgeron lost the team, and I mean, it fell off the rails fast. I mean, just 2 years ago, LSU's on top of the world with probably the best team, arguably, it's ever played, with Burrow, Chase, Jefferson, CEH, all those guys. But jump ahead 2 years, and it's a different team. I think they went 6-6 last year. They had spurts where they didn't look good at all. And Brian Kelly gets to inherit all that and basically build it and start from scratch. That was a huge advantage in this game for Florida State because FSU had been there already. They have already gotten this stage cleared, and they've moved on. This was a huge advantage, and ultimately, other than being completely outcoached by Mike Norvell, that was ultimately the difference in this game. They weren't ready because the team wasn't really a team. They had the bigger, stronger, probably. I mean, let's just face it. Probably more NFL guys that's going to play in the league than FSU at this point. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but we're looking at, they got some guys, and for them to shut down Keyshawn Butte to only 2 catches for 20 yards, that's amazing. And now I see that he's mad and he's deleted all his LSU stuff, and I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. Because Jaden Daniels was the only offense that they really had last night for LSU, and he wasn't throwing the ball very much. And when he did, it didn't look fantastic. He'd just take off and run, and FSU notoriously throughout the history of time has struggled with mobile quarterbacks. I've said that before. So he literally was their only offense. Nothing else was working for LSU. And it was only working because the plays broke down, because the pocket was collapsing, because FSU was getting there almost every single play. And that gives you the sense of, okay, this team it's got that it factor this year. It's got some stuff. And they came out, and, the first drive, LSU got the ball, and the very first play, Jaden Daniels takes off and runs for like 30 yards. I'm like, they broke containment, he got loose, and away he went. The next thing you know, there's a couple of penalties, and they're able to get a field goal out of it. I wasn't too worried about that yet because I wanted to see the FSU offense. I knew that LSU was going to be able to move the ball, or I assumed that they were going to be able to move the ball because they got some dudes at wide receiver. Like I said, Butte is high on everybody's Devy list. He's high on everybody's college fantasy list, and he's a highly sought-after NFL draft pick. So I thought, well, they're going to have some plays. They're going to make some plays. It's just the natural order of things. FSU gets the ball, and they start moving the ball. Jordan Travis looks like a man possessed. The growth from last year to this year, the comfortability in the offense, the knowledge of the offense, the way it works, the way it rolls, his command of it, and his leadership, all of those things have grown through the course of the offseason, spring football, fall practice, and now. on the biggest stage that he's probably played in. You could say last year Notre Dame, but he was splitting time with Mackenzie Milton, and it was not really a good look for either quarterback, and you could tell he just wasn't the guy he is now. And FSU has got a dude, and to keep him healthy. And last night it was well planned. The plan that they had last night was beautiful, other than maybe a few hiccups. So FSU's moving the ball, and there's not a whole lot going on offensively for both teams. FSU's taking some shots. They've run the ball not very well, which we knew. We knew that was going to be a little bit of a problem because LSU's defensive line was pretty good, but their best interior lineman, Mason Smith, the big dummy, celebrates on a play where there's a tackle for loss and jumps and lands on his knee wrong, and he's out the rest of the game. That played a factor. And even though FSU really wasn't able to run up the middle or that much at all for the whole entire game, that made a difference because he wasn't getting pressure into the backfield. They were able to turn their attention elsewhere and do some things that worked out in their favor. The offensive line in this game really impressed me. They gave Jordan some of the best pass protection he's had since he's been there. There were some plays in this game where he's setting back there, can look, reload, and throw the ball. That didn't happen last year, people. That was not available. So the leaps and the bounds by the offensive line just working together as a cohesive unit, and they're bigger and they're better, really fuels this offense. The wide receivers are better. Jordan Travis is better. The three-headed running back didn't really show up last night because it's LSU. They weren't playing Duquesne, so we knew that it was going to be every guy wasn't getting 100 yards. But not every team is going to be LSU. And I'll get to Louisville here in a little bit. A little trickery, a little Bobby Bowden flea flicker. Jordan Travis, long bomb to Pokey Wilson in the end zone, gets the Noles on the board with a touchdown on a pass interference play. And that was a cool play. I mean, Jordan ripped that ball. As soon as he got it, he grabbed that ball and just ripped it, let it loose. And that was awesome to see. He was decisive. He knew where he was going with it. Touchdown FSU, 7-3. Let's jump to the second quarter because that's basically where everything kind of gets a little bit more interesting. We're coming down to almost to the half. FSU has to punt. They punt the ball. Neighbors, wide receiver for LSU, fumbles the punt return. FSU falls on it. First down, second down, third down, can't punch it in the end zone. It's like fourth down. I'm saying, Mike, take the points, Mike. Take the points. You're going to go up 10-3, and you get the ball coming out. Take the free points. That's points off turnover. But he goes for it. And, I mean, the pass from Travis to Micah Pittman, it was very good coverage. It was a very good pass. And Pittman should have made that catch. He's probably thinking, I want that one back. Because I bet you 9 out of 10 times he catches that ball. Anyway, he didn't catch it. Noles go to the half, up 7-3. I still think take the points. That's free points off a turnover, and you get the ball coming out. I've heard this today throughout the course of listening to stuff. People are kind of on both sides of it. You understand that if you got the fourth down and you got LSU right there, you could really sock them in the mouth by putting a touchdown on the board. That's true, but to me, I'm thinking points may be at a premium in this game. With it only being 7-3 at almost halftime, take the points you can get. Didn't happen. Halftime, 7-3. FSU gets the ball, start the second half. That's exactly what happens. They come down, they score a touchdown. So they're up. No, check that. Excuse me. Ryan Fitzgerald, field goal at about the 8-minute mark. I forgot. I had him backwards. Up 10-3. Once again, FSU's defense played inspired football. If it wasn't for the running ability of Jaden Daniels, this game would have been ugly. It should have been ugly. They get the ball back on the 27-yard line. They're going long again. Travis drops back, throws a beautiful pass. Ontario Wilson once again catches a touchdown with a guy holding one arm. He catches it with his other arm. Travis takes a legitimate cheap shot from one of the better LSU defensive players. Blatant targeting to the head or neck area, launched himself, really was trying to take Travis out of the game. And there's got to be a point where this is addressed when it's something that heinous that the kid just misses more than a half and then a half. Okay, I'm talking a couple of games because he could have really have done some damage, and it was on purpose. It was blatant. You could tell. He did it on purpose, and when it's that blatant, there needs to be more penalties. So it's 17-3, and I'm thinking, well, there's still a lot of time left. We got a whole quarter, plus a little bit left in this one. LSU gets the ball back, comes back down, scores to make it 17-10 heading into the fourth. Now, I'm thinking it's the fourth quarter. A lot of stuff can go wanky in the fourth quarter. They bring in an I formation package, and they run a linebacker out of the fullback position, and he scores a touchdown. DJ Lundy, a 1-yard goal line plunge. That's wanky. That's wanky play number 1 in the fourth quarter. Up 24-10. I'm thinking that's 2 scores. That's fantastic. That's 2 touchdowns. We got about 4 minutes to go, and they're still up 24-10. And by now I'm thinking this is possibility. Because I said if they win, I was going to run naked down the streets of the town I live in. Thank goodness it was raining and I didn't have to. But on a busted play by the FSU defense, Jare Jenkins catches a 20-yard pass, and there's like nobody around. He just basically just walks into the end zone. Oh, there it is. 24-17. It's a game again. And when you couldn't afford FSU to have a 3-and-out, they have a 3-and-out. And you're like, this is... And when they got the ball, I'm like, they just need to keep doing what they're doing, playing small ball, moving the chains, moving the time, and they're going to get out of this with a win. But instead they go 3-and-out, which is the worst possible time in the game to go 3-and-out. They go 3-and-out, and they punt the ball. Punt the ball again. Ball is muffed again. FSU picks it up, runs it into the end zone. You cannot advance a fumbled punt. You can advance a fumbled kickoff. You can't advance the fumbled punt. So they get the ball on like the 3 or 4. First down, they get a couple of yards, and here's wanky play number 2. They pitch the ball to Treshaun Ward, and you can look at it 2 different ways. You can look at it as, one, the pitch was a tad behind him, still should have caught it. Or you can look at it as he was so excited because the dude was literally going to walk in the end zone. There was an opening that I could have ran through at 47 years old. Probably got a little excited, and took his eye off the ball for just a fraction, and they fumbled the ball on the 1. And, of course, LSU is going to recover because why not? Wanky plays, number 3, 4, 5, 6, however you want to say it, they start moving the ball. A little bit here, a little bit there. Now, there was a moment where I thought they're going to get out of this and they're going to run out of time before they even get, even close to sniffing the end zone, because Jared Verse gets his second sack of the game, and then they had to burn their last time out. I'm like, well, that's fantastic. That's awesome. But then the little bit that Kayshon Boutte did, he shows up and has a couple of plays that results in some first downs, and now they're moving. And then FSU drops back. And I've never been a fan of a prevent defense. I've really never been a fan of a prevent defense when you're only up 7 points. If you're up 3 scores with 40 seconds, then you can run a prevent. I think you're going to be fine. But they're getting chunks of yardage. I'm talking 20, 30, 60 yards in like 3 or 4 plays. Now this is legitimately, okay, this is going to happen. And then the wankiest play of all is Jason Taylor's kid. Can't remember his name. He's a tight end. He was a freshman. He wasn't even supposed to play much this year. Catches the ball, running over to the sideline, gets tackled with the knee in bounds, but the play had resulted in a first down, so the clock would have stopped. There's literally 1 second on the clock. And you guys who watched the game, you know this. I'm just breaking it back down for you before I go into my thoughts, just because it was such a good game. 1 second on the clock, and I'm like, well, I mean, to me, it's more than a 50-50 shot at them scoring. Now, to me, it's like 60-40. 60 they score, 40 that they don't with 1 second. And, of course, they score. Touchdown, LSU. Time expires. Now, all I got to do is kick the extra point. Tie the game, go to overtime. Brian Kelly calls for 1 instead of 2. I really thought there he might have went for 2. I thought, man, he had to have known that, his team got outplayed. He got outcoached by a mile. And he still was in position at the end to win the game. So I thought, what's he got to lose? He played for overtime, which was the best possible scenario for us Florida State fans, because the 2-point conversion would have ended the game. They line up. The kick is blocked. Shaheem Brown dives in, blocks it. Noles win 24-23. Place goes crazy. I go crazy. It's like 11:30 at night. I'm jumping up and down like I just hit the lottery or something. I was so pumped I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't wait to listen to all the aftermath and all the interviews and all the reporting and stuff on it. Mike Norvell said directly after that, when he was interviewed by Katie George on the field, he said, we always preach one more play. One more play. Let's live for one more play. And you can't get much more defined than that one more play. One more play gave FSU the win. That play gave LSU the loss. I made a post on Twitter this morning. It had chirping crickets. And I said, Norvell haters this morning. And it was crickets chirping. I haven't really had a chance to get on social media much to see, what some of the comments and this and that are. But I know social media was just blowing up because of this football game. As well it should. This game stole the show. As well as UNC App State was fun. And Notre Dame Ohio State was a little bit dramatic. This game stole the show. Now, it shouldn't have stole the show, because now I'm going to get into my personal reactions, and this game shouldn't have even been close. And if you listen to the interviews afterwards, Jordan Travis said it, Jared Verse said it, and it's not cocky, it's true. They said this game shouldn't have even been that close. Because think about it, if they kicked the field goal at the end of the half, they're up 3. There was 2 dropped touchdowns in the end zone. So that would have been a blowout, and LSU would have folded like a folding chair at that point. So yeah, this game could have been so much better, and I'm not trying to focus on the bad because this win was so huge for the school, the fan base, Norvell, Jordan Travis, everybody. But there was a couple of bad things that we have to talk on, and I have to, as to be fair, and as an FSU fan and also an FSU enthusiast and a reporter on this team, I have to be fair and talk about the bad. Jordan Travis threw some beautiful dimes. The pass in the end zone to Johnny Wilson should have been caught. It was great coverage once again. Same with Micah Pittman. Great coverage, better throw, should have been caught. The throw across the middle where he hits Cam McDonald, and McDonald had a guy on his back, and he reaches his arms out. I don't know how much better you want a throw to be, because if he catches it in stride, he's probably running for, I don't know if he runs all the way, but he runs 10 or 15 more yards before they are able to regroup and track him down. So those drop passes were annoying more than aggravating. They would have been a bigger focal point had FSU lost the game. The play down on the goal line with Coach Norvell calling the plays, and he said if he had to do it over again, he's probably learned his lesson. He owned up to that. That I think that's huge. There are some things here defensively that I'm still a little worried about, because I don't think that Jaden Daniels was ready for this game in a quarterback capacity, because he was running for his life, and he made some bad throws that really could have hurt FSU. The throw where he missed Boutte in the end zone was almost like those guys weren't even reading the same book, let alone being on the same page. He could have hit him if he'd have thrown the ball to his left. That's a gimme touchdown for Keyshawn Boutte, and Boutte was visibly aggravated at his lack of usage in this offense. So there were some things, to make you question. I don't question the running game, not even one bit, because they're going to face far inferior defensive fronts. And you got to think that Brian Kelly, after what happened last year at Notre Dame, and this is just my brain right now, literally thinking about it, had to say, well, last year we contained Jordan Travis's running. He wasn't an avid passer. So we're going to do that again. So you had to think that they came in prepared to stop the run, contain Jordan Travis, and make him hurt you with the pass. Well, that's what happened. That is exactly what happened. Travis went for 262 and 2 touchdowns. Didn't run for very much. Didn't have to. Took off on a couple of runs. Had a 20-yard run. Just a little bit here and there. He didn't have to because the passing was working. His throws were on point. He looked so much more confident and in command of this offense that he was not phased. This moment was not too big for him. And I got to tell you, I am a Jordan Travis fan. I have been since he got his chance to play. If you've listened to any of my shows, you've listened to me on anybody's, as I've been a guest on some podcasts, I am a Jordan Travis guy. I got a Jordan Travis hat. I was wearing it yesterday at a fantasy football draft. I was wearing my JTrav 13 hat. So I'm over the moon happy for this kid. I'm happy for everybody. The team, offense, defense, special teams played a huge part in this football game. But I know how much this meant to all of them. But I mean, Travis needed this game to show the world, I'm legit. Can't wait to see what happens going forward and how he continues to progress and how much buzz he gets at the NFL level. Now, I've said before, I don't know what kind of NFL quarterback he's going to be. But this game last night on a big stage wasn't too big for him. And if he can play like this and stay healthy, because that's been his knock. That's going to be a knock going into the next level is, can he take a hit? Because he's going to get bigger linebackers coming at him, bigger linemen landing on him. And I don't know. I'm projecting here probably a little bit too far because we're only 2 games into the season. But you have to get excited about what's to come for FSU. From what we've seen not only last night, but from what we saw in the ACC on Saturday. Okay, what we thought we was going to see was, a dominant Louisville team go to New York, roll over Syracuse, and pack up and then head on back. Didn't happen. It was the other way around. They went to Syracuse and got their butts handed to them. Be interesting to see how much film FSU watches on that game on how to slow down Malik Cunningham, because he is a legit runner and a legit thrower of the football. He doesn't have the guns at wide receiver that LSU has, but he can make your night very, very long. NC State should have lost. NC State should have lost that football game. They should be 0-1. North Carolina should be 0-1. We have one game tonight, Clemson, Georgia Tech. I don't think this is going to be much of a game. I think Clemson wins this game handily. Which leads us to what's next. And our Here's What We Know segment.
Here's what we know.
The Noles go into this week on a bye, get a little rest, get a little healthy, and then start prepping, and you got almost a week and a half for Louisville on Friday in Louisville a week from this coming Friday night. So here's what we know. We know that FSU looked sound last night in all 3 phases against a LSU SEC dog. Not the same LSU as of the past, obviously, but still a formidable SEC opponent. And they came in and they handled it, and the score was closer than the game was. The coaching was way better. Mike Norvell out-coached the crap out of Brian Kelly last night, and I loved every minute of it. Kelly's on the sidelines whining and crying like he's good at. Oh, I loved it. Loved seeing it. But they got another storm coming this week, or next week now, with Malik Cunningham, because he's legit. And that team's probably going to be a little aggravated. Now, I think they play. They don't have a bye week. FSU does because of week 0. But Louisville has a week and a game to get it right, while Florida State has a week and a half to prepare for this game. It's going to be a good one. On Friday night, it's going to be a really good game. I'm looking forward to it. That'll be the next one for Florida State. As Florida State fans, and if you're listening to this, I know you are, but as a Florida State fan, you've got to like what you've seen last night. Other than a couple of hiccups that made the game closer than necessary, this game is worlds better than it has been over the last 5 years. Since Jimbo left, this is the best it's looked. We'll see going forward how good LSU is, how they react, and how they grow and progress and get better as the season goes on, because this game is going to carry some weight, whether it's good weight or bad weight. Because if LSU goes 3-9, then maybe this win wasn't so spectacular for Florida State. But if they turn around and go 9-3, now you're talking. So this win's going to carry some weight going forward. But as of right now, in this moment, this game was huge for FSU. It was huge for everybody involved, players, coaches, students, fans, everybody. What a great day to be a Florida State fan. I love this team. I'm going to continue to love this team. And I'm going to ride the Jordan Tragon and bus until the wheels fall off. That's it. Thank you for listening to my Gap Recap. My name is Chris Strasbaugh. You can find me everywhere possible. NFL starts this coming week. I'll be rolling deep in that. Fantasy leagues, I'm done drafting, thank God. Ready to kick the NFL season off. Have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. Go Noles.